Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm so glad you could join me today. So today we're making this really cool box. So it's a box, but when you open it, it holds 2 Hershey bars and it velcros shut. Isn't that cool? So I made these because it's summertime for, you know, Independence Day and Memorial Day and that kind of thing. I've also made one here that will be for holidays, and this one I actually used a magnet. Not sure I liked the magnet. It's kind of big and black and obvious, but it's there. So we're going to make this today, and we're going to make it in holiday colors. We're going to have these colors, and then I'm going to use this plaid DSP. And let's get started. Now, as always, I'm going to go through the sizes and score lines and stuff fairly quickly, but you can always go over to my website, my blog at terryscraftroom.com, and all these supplies and measurements and score lines and everything will be over there. So there you are. So this piece of paper is 8.5 by 7 1/8. Oh, and by the way, I got this idea from Sam at Mixed Up Crafters. But she used, obviously she's over in the UK, and I think the bar that she used was some Oriental, because you could see the writing on it, but it was a different size than our American sized Hershey bars in the United States. So these are made for, I redid all the measurements, made for our Hershey bars here in the US. Okay, so what do we need? We need a piece of cardstock that is 7 1/8 by 8.5. And put the 8.5 side across the top. You're going to score at 1 inch and 1 3/8. Turn it around, score at 1 inch and 1 3/8. Okay? And then you're going to turn to the short side, so the 7 1/8 is across the top. And you're going to score at 2 1/4, 3, 5 1/4, and 6. So we have that piece. Now you're going to need 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 5 3/4, and I think oh yeah, they're right. Okay, I thought I cut them at 5 1/2. But you need 2 pieces of those, and you're going to score both of them at 1/2 inch and then 7/8 of an inch. So that's both of these. Okay, that's all the scoring we have. So let's take our big piece here, and we're going to do a little bit of cutting. And I like to fold and burnish all my score lines because it's easier to see where I'm cutting, and it's easier for the camera to see, for you all to see what I'm doing as well. Now, I came across a tip the other day, and I thought it was a very good tip. When you fold and burnish with your bone folder, you notice I start in the middle here. And that's because if you started over here and tried to go this way, you might push it off center. So if you start in the middle and go to the 2 outside edges, you're more likely to get a straight edge, a straight score line, and less likely for it to go off where you scored it. Okay, so here's our piece of cardstock. Now, I am going to cut away. So I have a big area down here and a smaller area up here. This is the top flap, and I'm going to cut away these 4 on both sides. So let's do that. And these are straight cuts. We're not mitering these at all. But just remember that when you cut away something, you're also cutting away the actual score line itself. So you want to cut just on the other side of that knobbly score line. And that's another reason to fold and burnish your score lines ahead of time, because then you can see that knobbly area. Okay, so now we're going to skip this area and we're going to cut away these two. Again, straight cuts, which is not typical for box making, but in this instance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these two big flaps out of the way because I want to cut this piece off. So that's what I'm ending up with. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I am cutting away the score line. And I'm going to cut off that little tab. So you should end up with something that looks like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, and I'm going to get a bigger pair of scissors for this one, is on all four of these tabs, we are going to cut from this corner to this score line at an angle, just like this. And with these kinds of cuts, I like to have a longer pair of scissors because then you can do it in one slice, and it's more likely to be straight. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this side. So since I'm upside down, I'm going to cut from the score line to the corner. Scissors aren't very sharp. Same thing again, from score line to corner. Okay, and there's the basis of, or the base of our box. Now we've got these two pieces, and these, there's no cutting at all on these, or there might be a little bit. We might have to trim. But we've got that, and then let's fold and burnish this piece. And then we're going to put our DSP on before we put everything together. Okay, so this is our top, because it's going to fold up like this and then over like that, right? So I want to round my corners. Okay, and then I've got this piece of DSP is going to go here. Now if you have a directional DSP, meaning there's an up and a down to it, remember that you're folding this up, so you want the down and the up. So you need to remember where your DSP needs to go, or which way. See, if I was using this side, it does have a direction. But since I'm using the plaid side, there's no direction. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to put this on here. Right there. Then we have, and that piece is 2 inches by 5.5. And then I have a piece here that is 7/8 of an inch by 5.5. And I'm going to round 2 of these corners. I'll put those right here on this right here on the flap. Okay, so that's all the DSP for that. And then we've got DSP to put on these two pieces. And this piece. Now if you're like I am and you like art glitter glue, which is this kind of glue, that's just the name of it, art glitter glue, now is the time to order it. You cannot order it, or should not order it in the winter time, because if it freezes, it ruins it. I'm sorry, it ruins it, and it separates, and you can't fix it. So I'm going to use some Tear and Tape here. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the Tear and Tape on the very bottom . See, we have two score lines. I'm going right up to that first score line, but not over it on both pieces. Okay, and so then we're going to, if I can get the release tape paper off. So I'm bending just that piece under that I had the tape on, and I'm going to line this score line up with the very bottom of my project here. So I have that. Now we're going to put this one on. And again, I'm going to fold this so that this is under. I'm going to line this score line up with this score line right here. So you have two small score lines in the middle. I'm going the one closest to the top flap. Right even with these two wings. Okay, so now, and I found it easiest, much as I like using wet glue for this project, I really found it easiest to use Tear and Tape. And what I did just now was I pulled this flap up to see how high I wanted to put the Tear and Tape so that I didn't come up into this area here. Get the release papers off on both sides. And then you're going to just square off that bottom . To make your pocket. And since the Tear and Tape is more of an instantaneous bond, it makes it easier so it doesn't keep pulling away. Again, I measured to see how high I want my Tear and Tape. We'll get the release papers up. And we'll just make sure we square that side up. And there we go. And you can take your two full-size candy bars. Now you could make this for Halloween, you could make this for Easter, just any occasion really. And there's our basic box. Isn't that cool? Now I'm going to take and put a couple of Velcro closures on here. And here's where having that candy bar in place is a good idea, because then you have something to push against to try and get it, your Velcro seated. But there's our basic box. And then I probably will take, we'll do something like this, only Christmassy. So I've got the 2 3/8 inch punch, and let's do a circle for that. And then find another piece of scrap paper here. That'll work. And I've got Wishing You a Season of Hope and Light, and that's from the Brightest Glow stamp set, which did carry over into the new catalog. I'm gonna stamp that. And then I'm going to take that was the 2 3/8 punch that we did for that. I'm going to take the 2 1/4 inch punch. And punch that out. Put that on here. And then we're going to put this right on here. And if you wanted to, you could put an extra Velcro dot down here, and I think I may. And that'll give it a little bit more stability. And then let's do one there, one there, and one there, and there's our project. There we go. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and as always, subscribe to my channel, please, to help me grow my channel. Again, all of the measurements and supplies and everything will be over on my blog, terryscraftroom.com. Go on over there, and while you're there, sign up for my newsletter. You have a wonderful day now, and we'll see you next time. Bye!